It started on a rainy November afternoon in San Francisco. The kind of day where the fog clings to everything like unspoken regrets. I was 29, trudging out of the corporate tower where I crunched numbers as a data analyst for a big pharma firm, earning a steady $75,000, but feeling like my soul was being slowly erased. That's when the old man with the weathered Polaroid camera approached me on the sidewalk, his eyes piercing through the drizzle. "May I capture your truth?" he asked, voice like gravel underfoot. I shrugged, too numb to refuse. He snapped the shot, waited for the film to develop, and handed it over. But it wasn't me standing there in my drenched coat. It was a version of me fierce, unyielding, confronting a man I recognized all too well, my ex, Ethan. His face twisted in shock as I exposed something damning in a crowded gallery. Strangers watched, whispers building like a storm. "This is you in 1 year," the photographer murmured. "When you stop swallowing the poison of silence." Before I could demand answers, he vanished into the mist, leaving me gripping that impossible image, my heart pounding with a mix of confusion and a buried fury I'd long ignored. Back in my cramped apartment in the Mission District, I stared at the photo under the harsh kitchen light, my microwave dinner growing cold. The woman in it, me, but not me, wore a sharp blazer, her posture commanding, not the slumped defeat I saw in my mirror every morning. Ethan was there, the man who'd shattered me 3 months earlier. We'd been together for 2 years, building what I thought was a future. He was a rising star in marketing at the same company, charming everyone with his easy smiles and networking prowess. But he'd cheated with my coworker, Lisa, the one I'd confided in about my insecurities. They hid it for months, whispering in break rooms while I buried myself in spreadsheets, pretending not to notice the late nights and sudden meetings. When it all came out, Ethan didn't even apologize properly, just said I was too intense, too focused on my fading dreams of graphic design to keep up with his ambitions. The betrayal gutted me, but I stayed silent, swallowed the hurt like bitter medicine, because making waves could cost me my job in that cutthroat office. Now, this photo suggested otherwise, a future where I didn't just survive the knife in my back, but twisted it back on them. It felt like a hallucination. Yet the details were too vivid, the gallery walls lined with art that screamed of exposed secrets, Ethan's pleading eyes, Lisa lurking in the shadows. How could a stranger capture something that hadn't happened? I tucked it away, but the image haunted me, stirring the rage I'd suppressed into a slow-burning ember. The next day at work, the fluorescent lights buzzed like accusations as I sat in my cubicle, running regressions on drug trial data. Ethan passed by, flashing that same smug grin, Lisa trailing him like a shadow. They were the golden couple now, promoted together while I stagnated. My parents, back in Ohio, had always pushed stability, don't rock the boat. Emily, they'd say, echoing the Midwestern caution I'd inherited despite my Vietnamese roots from Mom's side, where family honor meant enduring in silence rather than confronting shame. But that photo whispered rebellion. During lunch, I pulled it out in the empty conference room, tracing the edges. What if this wasn't a trick? What if it was a glimpse of me reclaiming power? The thought terrified me. Revenge wasn't who I was, or so I'd told myself. Yet the pain of their betrayal festered, unspoken words choking me like the fog outside. That evening, instead of collapsing on my couch with Netflix to numb the ache, I followed an unfamiliar pull. I wandered into a coffee shop in North Beach, one I'd never entered, drawn by the warm glow. Inside, mismatched chairs and walls plastered with flyers for local art events. As I sipped my latte, my eyes landed on a bulletin board ad seeking collaborators for underground art exhibit, expose hidden truths. Contact Alex Rivera. My pulse quickened. Art had been my escape in college, before I sidelined it for the practical data job to pay loans. This felt like a sign. Or maybe just desperation. I snapped a photo of the ad. The Polaroid burning a hole in my bag. Weeks dragged on. The photo becoming my secret talisman. I'd glance at it during meetings where Ethan and Lisa presented ideas I'd once shared with them in confidence, only to see them take credit. The silence ate at me, turning meals into ash, sleep into nightmares of their laughter. Synchronicities started appearing, but only when I veered from routine. A random detour led me to an art supply store where I overheard talk of corporate scandals turned into installations. An impulse to attend a networking event introduced me to Mia, a sharp-tongued journalist with cropped hair and a knack for digging dirt. People like that deserve to be called out, she said over drinks, her words igniting something in me. But pursuing this meant risk, exposing them could backfire. Cost me everything. Still, the woman in the photo looked unbroken, her eyes blazing with justice, not victimhood. 6 weeks in, lying awake at 3 a.m., I realized the truth, that future me wasn't waiting passively. She'd chosen to act, to weaponize the pain instead of letting it define her. The next morning, I emailed Alex from the ad. I'm Emily Chin. I have a story of betrayal that needs exposing through art. Let's talk. His reply came fast. Meet at the gallery tomorrow. Bring your fire. Alex was in his mid-30s, with tattoos peeking from his sleeves, running a pop-up space in Soma dedicated to social commentary art. Over coffee, I spilled fragments of my story, the affair, the stolen ideas, the way they'd climbed over my silence. Sounds like prime material for an exhibit, he said, eyes lighting up. We could turn it into anonymous installations, emails, chats, designs they claimed as theirs. My stomach twisted. This was revenge, cloaked in creativity, but real. Mia, whom I'd met earlier, joined us soon after, offering to help research without names attached yet. She had connections, could pull strings discreetly. As we planned, I recognized them from the photo, Mia on one side, Alex on the other. In that gallery confrontation, they were strangers then. But now, allies born from my small acts of defiance. By day, I played the dutiful analyst, smiling through gritted teeth as Ethan assigned me grunt work. By night, I poured my hurt into designs, collages of redacted messages, shadowed figures representing deceit. The exhaustion was bone deep, but it fueled me, transforming numbness into purpose. The price? Isolation grew. Friends from work distanced themselves, sensing my shift. My family called, worried about my moodiness, urging therapy over action, classic avoidance. The cultural weight of saving face pressing down. For months later, the hammer fell, a promotion offer at work. Senior analyst at $95,000, but tied to a non-compete clause that would chain me for years. Ethan delivered it personally, his smile laced with condescension. You've earned this, Emily. Don't let personal stuff get in the way. The hypocrisy burned. My mom pleaded over the phone, security first. Con. Revenge won't feed you. But the photo screamed otherwise, that future me thrived not in chains, but in freedom's fire. I declined, quitting on the spot. I'm done being silent, I said, voice steady despite the terror. Walking out, adrenaline surged. But so did doubt. Freelance design gigs trickled in via Alex's network, barely covering rent in my downsized studio. Bills piled up. Loneliness echoed in empty evenings. Was this vengeance worth the ruin? Mia and Alex kept me grounded. Our sessions uncovering more. Ethan and Lisa had poached clients using my concepts. Their rise built on my buried dreams. The exhibit launched 11 months after that rainy encounter, in a gritty Soma warehouse turned gallery. Titled Shadows of Silence, it featured my installations, anonymized but unmistakable to insiders. Projections of forged emails. Sculptures of shattered trust. Word spread in creative circles. Ethan and Lisa showed up. Drawn by Buzz. The confrontation unfolded like the photo, me in a bold red dress, stepping forward as they recognized the pieces. "This is about us," Ethan hissed, face paling. The crowd hushed. Phones out. I didn't scream, I spoke calmly. Voice amplified. Betrayal has a price. Silence ends now. Mia flanked me with evidence files. Alex with the mic. Their reputations cracked, whispers turned to articles. Their promotions scrutinized. But victory tasted bitter. Ethan lost his job. Lisa fled the city. I gained clients. A new life in design. But the toll lingered, trust shattered forever. Nights haunted by what I'd become. Not a victim, but a avenger. Scarred by her own blade. 1 year to the day. I returned to that sidewalk. The photographer was there. Camera in hand. You chose the storm, he said. How? I demanded. He smiled faintly. I captured the you that rage forged, the one always waiting beneath the silence. Not fate, but the consequence of unleashing what's buried. He snapped another photo. Handing it over, me 2 years ahead. In a sunlit studio. Creating art that healed rather than harmed. Surrounded by true allies. But with eyes wiser. Wearier. For when the cost weighs heavy, he whispered. Fading into the crowd. I walked away. The images my anchors. Revenge had transformed me. But at what price? The betrayal's wound closed. Yet the scar reminded, silence protects. But speaking destroys and rebuilds in ways you can't unchoose. Every day, I balance that edge. Choosing not blind fury, but measured truth. Knowing the line between justice and ruin is thinner than Polaroid film.